This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
British Spy Stories Season 5 Kill or Be Killed. Episode 10. The time on Gabby's watch clicks on to 06:43. Across the road, the morning light starts to illuminate the enormous gates to the house and grounds belonging to Laravelle Villanova. She pulls her headset microphone towards her mouth. Laravelle, any movement? Agent Laravelle is sitting in the camper van by the back gate on the western side of the compound. No, Mum, is all she says. Kate's voice crackles into their earpieces. I can see something in the house. Target is having breakfast. What time is sunrise? 06:57, Mum. They can still hear the end of the dawn chorus as the three women wait in the April morning. All are wearing black camouflage gear. Gabby and Kate have their Augusta Brutale motorbikes next to them, ready to start the operation. Across Kate's back is the standard British sniper rifle, L115A3, in case a close-in kill is not possible. Raphael pours a coffee from the machine on the white quartz kitchen counter and puts jam on a croissant. After 4 minutes, Kate says, He's moving outside to the SUV. There's a bodyguard with him, but the target is getting into the driving seat. Come to me, both of you, says Gabby. Kate rises from her crouching position, throws her leg over the bike, pulls on her helmet, and speeds away down the hill. In the lane behind the compound, Laravelle turns the key on the camper van, and the V8 roars in the light morning air. By the time the gates to the house start their slow and deliberate opening sequence, Kate is 50 meters from Gabby's position, opposite the entrance, and Laravelle is waiting in a lay-by on the far side of the road. They watch as Villanova's dark grey Cupra Tavascan noses out of the gates and turns north on the road. From the information hacked from his online diary, they know he is driving for half an hour to the Plaza de Cervantes, in the writer's hometown of Alcalá de Henares, to the east of Madrid. When she planned this operation last night, Gabby had wanted to stop the target getting anywhere near the destination and carry out the hit in the countryside between the built-up areas. In the end, this hadn't been possible, as the journey is almost entirely on public motorway, making any sort of covert assassination too much of a risk. She'd decided that they'll stop him on the link road that runs dead straight for 2 minutes between the motorway and the edge of Alcalá de Henares. This road is quiet, and the landscape provides natural cover for their attack. Masks on, everyone, says Gabby, and the women all pull up the fabric that has been around their necks and now covers the lower half of their faces. They all drive east on the R2 motorway. Above their heads, across the expansive sky, scattered low clouds reflect the reds and yellows of the Spanish flag. Gabby and Kate ride next to each other and 100 meters behind the target. Laravelle is another 200 meters behind them. Raphael approaches a long line of toll booths stretching across the motorway. These are only a stone's throw from the Ramiro Tactical Factory in Poligono La Jolla, where Laravelle had eavesdropped on the conversation between Raphael and the CEO only 2 days ago. The SUV has a transponder fitted to pay the toll automatically, and the barrier silently rises up as it approaches, and it speeds through the gates. Laravelle's camper van has a transponder too, but the bikes don't and will need to stop and pay. Take over lead position, Laravelle, says Gabby, into comms. We'll catch you up. 10 minutes later, the bikes power along the road to make up ground, and the light builds further across the mountains around them as the vehicles follow a long arc on the motorway. Another 10 minutes goes by before Gabby says, "Our turn-off is in 60 seconds. The SUV indicates, takes the exit for Alcalá de Henares, and starts its journey along the link road. Gabby's pleased to see that there are only 2 vehicles along the entire length of the road at this early hour. Then, she starts the attack. Gabby opens the throttle on her bike and passes the camper van to narrow the gap between her and Raphael's vehicle. Kate draws up alongside the van, then holds back to see if Raphael reacts. For 10 seconds, the target continues at a steady pace. Then the security guard sees the coming attack. "Sir, behind us," he says. "A bike." Raphael looks in his mirror and pushes the accelerator further. As the SUV's speed builds, the bodyguard points to the left-hand side of the road. "Across there, sir." There's an access road striking out away from the highway and towards warehousing to the east. Raphael spins the wheel and pushes the vehicle faster. Kate accelerates too, and she and Gabby take the junction together at speed, causing an oncoming lorry to sound a long warning horn blast as it misses them by a hair's breadth. Raphael isn't slowing, urged on by the security guard next to him. The route they've chosen leads to a maze of concrete roads around more warehouses, interspersed with blocks of offices. The first turning ends in a dead end, but there's another junction to the left, and Raphael only just makes the turn, his wheels squealing on the concrete, and the SUV rolling on its suspension. The security man is forced to grab the door handle next to him to steady himself as the G-force pushes him across the car's interior. This road doesn't provide an escape route either, and Raphael turns again. His options are falling away. The guard instructs him to drive up onto the rough ground between buildings in a bid to escape. Their hope is that they can double back to find another road and make their getaway. "I'll go round the back and close them off that way," shouts Laravelle into comms as the bikes continue their chase. She turns the camper van and follows a side road to the rear of the complex. The front wheels of the SUV crash the curb, and dust spews up from its tires on the rough, dry dirt surface. Gabby and Kate are closing in, but their view is obscured now by a thick dust cloud that engulfs Raphael's vehicle. Gabby trusts her gut instinct and twists her wrist, aiming directly into the choking cloud, while Kate goes wide to avoid the hazard. In the chase, the bikes are better at mastering the bumps on this rough ground. Gabby gets to within 20 feet of the back of the SUV, then accelerates further and drives her front wheel into the back of the car. There is less than a second for her to carry out her plan, and she pushes on her legs and jumps across to the back of the moving vehicle. Her fingers grasp for anything, and she reaches a roof bar. Her hands grip, and she pulls herself up onto the top of the SUV. Her fingers turn white as she clings on to the speeding car. Raphael swerves left and right as he attempts to dislodge the woman, and the vehicle rises and falls violently into potholes, throwing her body up, then slamming her back down onto the metalwork. The dust cloud is getting denser and engulfs her, clawing down into her throat to make her choke. With her head protected with the motorcycle helmet, Gabby takes a high-risk route forwards and down the front of the windscreen. She locks her feet into the roof bars, pulls out a specialized MI6 charge pack from her utility belt, and slams it into the center of the glass. She scoots back up and presses the detonator built into the fingers of her left-hand glove. The charge blows the screen off, and the reinforced glass peels away from the frame like damaged skin. She returns to the front of the roof, throws her legs wide, and brings her feet down into the passenger compartment on top of the bodyguard. Gabby attacks immediately, flailing his face and torso with blows. With the fight going on next to him, Raphael loses control of the SUV, and they hit an abandoned concrete beam left discarded on the ground. The car is jettisoned up onto one side. Gabby can feel her center of gravity flipping over as the SUV starts to rotate. Raphael saw the impact coming and already has his driver's door open. He jumps out as the vehicle spins, but his arm is caught in the seatbelt and his tendons are torn from his skeleton, causing pain to ram up through his body. He cries out in midair, then hits the ground but manages to roll out of the worst of it. He is up quickly and starts to run towards the remains of an abandoned warehouse 50 yards away, his damaged arm now limp by his side. Kate turns her bike after him. As he runs, Raphael delves into his jacket and pulls out a Sig Sauer P320 pistol. He wildly fires back at the bike, but the bullets are nowhere near her. Inside the SUV, Gabby rolls with the expected crash. It twists in the air, then lands back on its wheels, before the bonnet crumples on impact with a skip full of cables. She and the bodyguard are thrown out onto the bonnet. The man tries to get his handgun from his underarm holster, but Gabby grabs his hand and hits it against the bodywork, denting the steel until blood spurts out from his fingers. He is stronger than her and pushes back, the blood from his damaged hand spewing out across her face. They roll off the bonnet and into the dust. He attempts to break her neck and tries to get his hands around each side of her skull. Just as she feels the man could overpower her, she manages to spin around, and it gives her an opportunity that lasts less than a second. She reaches her combat knife, and her fingers grip the handle. Gabby swings the weapon and pushes it deep into his stomach, then pulls it out and rams it in again. The man falls away, but she has no time to waste and scrambles up to give chase to their target. Raphael is fast, and the adrenaline pumps his legs hard onto the ground. The abandoned warehouse he's running towards is ready for demolition and surrounded by a high wire fence. There are yellow signs warning of likely collapse, but Raphael ignores it all and finds a gap in the chain link before squeezing through and into the old building. When the women arrive inside the fence, Gabby indicates with hand movements that they will each take different entrances into the warehouse to cut off his exits. They step inside the vast, cold, damp space. The sounds from the outside world are deadened in here, but the noises from inside the building are enhanced, and their footsteps on the floor echo around the walls as they move rapidly. Gabby can hear dripping water and creaks from the roof buttresses above her head. Empty crates and remains of packing are strewn across the floor, which runs dead flat to a high-end brick wall. Kate runs like the wind down one side. Then her voice comes through on comms. "I'm down on your left, ma'am. 9 o'clock. As they wait for any movement, Laravelle's voice is in their earpieces.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
There's an access road to the back of the warehouse. I'm parked up there, covering escape routes. Gabby raises up 1 foot and treads slowly across the floor. She stops to listen. There's nothing for a second. Then she hears the sound of scuffling feet across the concrete to one side of the empty space. She runs too, knowing that he'll hear her approach, but pushing him to reveal his position. A single shot echoes around the hollow shell of the warehouse. But he doesn't fire again. Gabby takes cover behind a crate. "It came from the offices on the far side," says Kate, in the earpieces. "Can you see him?" "Negative," she says. "He can't get out that way there. All the doors are behind us." "We'll move in. I'll go right, you go left," says Gabby, and they fan out across the warehouse. Another shot comes, but the echo, bouncing off the walls and floor, prevents them from getting an accurate location for Raphael. Gabby hugs the far side of the wall all the way to the offices and holds her Smith & Wesson up against her shoulder. The windows of the offices are all smashed, and glass shards are scattered on the ground, which crunch under the tread of her boots. Suddenly there's movement. Raphael makes a break from the middle office. Gabby takes a shot and hits his shin, but it doesn't slow him down. He continues towards the far wall, and she fires again, but misses with her second shot. Raphael reaches a shipping container and disappears around behind it. Both of the spies run towards him, abandoning their previous softly strategy. Raphael hears their feet and again makes a break for his freedom. He runs to where he entered the warehouse, and he is hit more than once, but doesn't go down. "Bulletproof vest," screams Kate into comms, to explain the lack of effectiveness of their firing. Raphael reaches a set of double doors and blasts out into the daylight. He turns north, towards the rear access road, and reaches the back fence. As he scrambles through a gash in the chain link, he raises his eyes to meet Laravelle, standing in front of him, gun drawn. He raises his pistol, but her bullet hits his head before he can fire. He falls immediately, and Gabby and Kate push through the fence line. Gabby feels his neck for a pulse. "Call the cleaners, Kate," she says. Within half an hour, the Catharsis support services arrived in an unmarked van and a vehicle tow truck. They removed the bodies of Raphael and his bodyguard. They winch the smashed carcass of the SUV onto the lorry, then drive away with the vehicles to go and fake a road accident somewhere on a remote road on the outskirts of Madrid. Gabby and Kate clamber into the camper van, and Laravelle drives them to the Adolfo Suarez, Madrid-Barajas Airport. Episode 11. A hazy April sun hangs in the air over London as Sir Bernard's Jaguar Sentinel rolls down the slope into the vehicle access beneath Thames House, the headquarters of MI5. In his 30 years working for MI6, he has only rarely visited this building, as usually the spy chiefs who work inside the UK come to him instead of the other way round. But today, he's decided to change that. Percy, his driver, opens the rear door of the armoured Jaguar once he has brought it to a standstill, right outside a set of lifts to the upper floors. Sir Bernard steps out and across to a waiting car that has been held for him so that the man responsible for all international British intelligence operations outside the UK is not kept waiting. On the second floor, the doors noiselessly slide open, and he turns left. The corridor is dead straight for 50 yards. Mahogany doors either side lead to the office suites of the most senior people in MI5. At the far end is a single door and a sign on the wall that reads, Stella Rimington, Meeting Room. He opens it and walks through. "Hello, Bernard," says Connie Barrett, MI5 Head of Operations. "Tea?" "Thank you, Connie."
"How is 6?
she says. "Challenging." She has become used to his one-word answers in the years they've worked together, doing the same job in each of the 2 sister intelligence services, domestic and foreign. Connie pours Yorkshire tea from a large pot and hands him a porcelain cup and saucer. "I heard you lost some data, Bernard." He grunts affirmatively. "We're all vulnerable. These online attackers keep inventing new ways to find our secrets." "Maybe it's a good thing." He looks surprised. "Does the PM know that her head of MI5 Ops advocates for leaking information?" They both smile. "You know that's not what I meant. It keeps us on our toes." They walk to a long beach table in the centre of the room. "What's that phrase? Every challenge is an opportunity to improve." He sips his drink, but he doesn't say anything. "Did you recover all of the data?" "I've asked Henry Caldwell to come along and brief us on the latest position. He should be here in a minute." "What about 5, Connie? The new Home Secretary is a man of few words, I hear." She breathes out. "We get on." "What does that mean?" he says. "Each minister only briefly has their feet under the desk. Like fireworks, they sparkle for a while. Then before you know it, it's time for the next rocket." "You're very poetic today." "He reminds me of my late husband," she says. "Is the Home Secretary beguiling you?" "I don't sleep with colleagues, Bernard." She leaves a pause for effect. "Not anymore." Her eyes light up, and a knock sounds on the door. 3 people come in: Henry Caldwell, Agent Riverside, and a stenographer, who will record the notes of the meeting they're about to have. After teas are distributed, they all sit at one end of the table. "Operation Oak Hill. Review meeting," says Sir Bernard, to start their discussion. "The London end first. Riverside, you have collected some S-24 on the target, I believe." Sir Bernard uses the Security Service formal classification for blackmail materials. "Yes, sir. Accounting documents. Tech branch also went into the flat and planted some listening devices. We also put a tail on the target, Bailey, and GCHQ are monitoring phones and online activity. So as soon as he gets anywhere near a state secret, we'll send him the S-24. It should stop him." "Very quick." "Feedback on Loxby," says Connie. "She's our new girl. She's always learning." "She learns fast," says Riverside. "And she's good undercover. She led the whole lot to approach the girlfriend and get access to the property." "She's taken an unplanned 2 weeks off," says Connie, exploring Riverside's face. "Any insights into her state of mind? Does she have the chutzpah for field ops?" Riverside can feel a pulsing in one of his fingers as he wonders what to say. "Yes, Mum, she does. She's inexperienced, of course, but she's improving every day. The holiday probably is because her dad died, you'll be aware. I imagine she's mourning. Riverside flicks his eyes to Sir Bernard. But the senior man gives nothing away to show that Loxby's father worked for MI6. On the European side of Oak Hill, says Sir Bernard. One of the targets has been terminated. He was actively arranging the purchase of military classified papers in Spain. We explored other options for him, but none would have stopped the leak, so we took action. In the distance, the slow chiming of Big Ben marks out time passing. After an hour, they reach the end of the agenda. Any other business? Says Sir Bernard. This is a top-secret item, not for minuting, says Connie, briefly looking at the stenographer, who packs up his equipment and leaves the room. Shall I leave too, Mum? Says Riverside. Connie turns to Sir Bernard. It's the issue we spoke about when you arrived, Bernard. She refers to the data leak, without naming it, to allow the man to decide. It's fine, says Sir Bernard. Go ahead. I'm interested in an update on the data leak, Henry. Sir Bernard says that you're leading. Yes, Mum, says Caldwell. You have a new gizmo, I believe, that allows you to trace data across international networks. Is that right? Henry's face shows some pride. Yes, Mum. We have a new data tagging application called Aletheia. It can find a target item anywhere in the world. The Greek god of truth, Sir Bernard interjects. Henry continues. We raided 2 premises in Austria and removed servers which contained most of the lost data. Most? One of Connie's eyebrows rises. There's one set of data left out there. We traced it to southeast France, but can't fix the precise location. It appears to be surrounded by a military-grade VPN to block the servers. GCHQ are all over it, but it'll take a couple more days. What about the 2 snipers whose data was leaked? Says Connie. Are they under protection? Henry looks uncomfortable. By the look on your face, Henry, that's a no, says Connie, and she turns to Sir Bernard. One of them has gone away. Off-grid. Agent Coniston. She's one of our best assassins. And you can't find her? Connie opens her eyes slightly. They're trained to hide in the field, Connie. I could find her, sir, says Riverside. I know Kate Grosvenor, Agent Coniston. We've worked together. The room descends into silence, and the others all look at Sir Bernard, as he thinks. All right, he says eventually. Your work on the London end of Oak Hill has finished, Riverside, so you're free to be allocated. I'll put you on this. Go and locate her. Make sure she's okay. Yes, sir. The Place du Luxembourg only has a few cars in it, as Inspector Dames crosses the road and heads to the European Parliament. At the security desk, he presents his Belgian Police Service ID and the invitation to a meeting with Michael Norgard that his office had emailed to Dames yesterday. He walks through into the broad, bright, curved corridor that surrounds the Parliament chamber and finds the meeting room that has been booked for them. There's a large jug of coffee on the sideboard, and he pours out a cupful. When Norgard arrives, he's in a hurry and explains that he can only be here for 20 minutes to talk. But I'm always ready to support our police services, he says. Dame's first impression of the MEP is that he seems unduly nervous. So we've been handed materials, photographs of you meeting a woman who is on our watch list. I meet many people, Inspector. Dames leans down to a briefcase that he placed next to his chair. He pulls out a set of large photographs, which he puts on the table between them. Norgard looks at the top image of him and Eleanor Royce having lunch, and he leafs through the other pictures. You know her as Eleanor Royce, is that right, sir? Yes. His demeanour has become guarded. What do you mean, I know her as Eleanor Royce? Is that not her name? I'm afraid not, sir. Clémence Froissart. is her birth name? That sounds French, says Norgard. She was English. We've researched her. She's the daughter of Alain Froissart and his first wife, who was an Englishwoman, Victoria Grosvenor. They were both young when they were married, and it only lasted a year. They lived in London, then divorced. Alain is a rich man and gave Victoria a few million, but kept the marriage a secret from his family, who are one of the great aristocratic dynasties of France. After divorce, he moved back to the family chateau in Froissart, and has always denied his first daughter's existence. Why are you telling me all this? Says Michael. Because they're a crime family, sir, and Clémence, or Eleanor, as she now calls herself, is doing what her family does best, preying on weak people. Norgard isn't sure where this is going, so he remains silent. Are you close to Eleanor Royce, sir? Dames hasn't stopped watching every movement of Norgard's face over the last minute, as the MEP is feeling ensnared. Not at all, Inspector, and I'm uncomfortable with your insinuations. My job is to stop crimes happening in Belgium, sir, or to catch the culprits. You're a member of the Subcommittee on Security and Defence inside the European Parliament, aren't you? Michael nods very slightly. So you see sensitive documents connected to the EU defence plans. The individual states are responsible for defence matters. Norgard's voice gains intensity. I didn't say anything about that. My point is that you have access to information which people like Eleanor Royce would pay good money for. As I said, I meet many people in this job, says Norgard. My advice, sir, is to stay well clear of her. She's a dangerous woman. Don't let her get the upper hand. Don't let her cajole you. Don't agree to anything, and don't accept any financial gifts from her. He pauses, then adds, just friendly advice, of course. I hope I've made myself clear. Oh yes, very clear, Inspector. Agent Hans opens the throttle of his Maserati Gran Turismo as the land rises to the south of Lyon on the A48 motorway. He thinks about the last week with Rose. After their nights together in Brussels, she'd invited him down to the chateau, and he'd set off early today on the 500-mile journey. The car stops in front of the vast grey gates to the chateau, and they start to open without Hans having to get out and ask for access. A guard stands up in his wooden hut to cheerily wave Hans through as the Maserati rolls past and into the Froissart estate. Rose must have given instructions about his arrival and his newfound status as the latest man in her bed. The light has started to fade across the gardens and the woodland near the chateau. His Loc Balmoral luggage is whisked away by silent staff as soon as he steps out of the vehicle, and his shoes crunch on the gravel. He is told that Madame is out riding, and he is directed into the lounge for gin and tonic. The room sits centrally at the back of the house. It has a view across the lawns for 100 metres before the trees take over. What strikes him here is how quiet it is, away from the city. He stands looking out of one of the two sets of French windows, and the bubbles in his glass rise to the surface. When Rose appears, she is at the canter, astride a chestnut Hanoverian mare, and without a helmet, so her brunette hair rolls in the wind behind her. As he watches her ride up towards the house, Hans imagines what it would be like living here, in this place, and not working as a spy. He likes the idea, but he needs to be careful that he doesn't forget why he's here. She dismounts and leaves the horse on the grass. Rose runs to him and kisses him without words. She pours a drink for herself and tops his up. I'm glad you came. She takes his hand and leads him upstairs to her suite, where they make love. When he wakes, Rose is looking at him. You're completely silent when you sleep. Good, he says. I wouldn't want to be mumbling secrets. Have you got secrets? She lays her hand on his chest. Everyone has secrets. The only thing that matters is who you tell them to. Did you just make that up? She says. Or have you said that to a dozen women before me? More than a dozen, he jigs, and she hits him with a pillow. I'm having a shower, she says. Dinner's at 8. She stands up. Your bags are in the suite next door. Separate rooms is a great Froissart family tradition. Everything appears to be appropriate on the surface, to hide the sins beneath. She makes a broad grin at him, then disappears into an ensuite bathroom. You've definitely said that to other men, he calls out. But she doesn't answer, and he hears the water start to run. He's the first downstairs, and sees that a round dining table has been set near the French windows in the lounge, and laid for 2. He lifts a bottle of Domaine Le Fleuve, Pouline Limon Traché, that's sitting in an ice bucket near the table, and he pours 2 glasses. It's a 1992 vintage. It was one of Grandpa's favourite wines, says Rose, behind him. He turns. She has her hair up, and is wearing a black, sleeveless Roland Mouret satin crepe gown. He holds out a glass to her, and in his mind, she seems to move effortlessly across the floor to him. After mussels and seared scallops, then truffle risotto, they decline pudding. A maid brings them blankets and brandies, and they walk out to the veranda. Watch this, she says, and raises her hand to a switch on the outside wall. Instantly, lights burst out across the gardens and paths, highlighting the bushes and trees for as far as they can see. He puts his arm around her, and they stand in the night. You could live here with me, she says. Next year I inherit. Grandpa gave it all to me because my father Alain is a good-for-nothing. Grandpa saw that I would continue the family into the future. I thought this family was huge, he says. It used to be. 6 heirs died. Tragic accidents in the decade before Grandpa passed away, 5 years ago. Will your father just give it all up on your birthday? He never inherited. Grandpa saw to that. It went into a trust. They look after it on behalf of the family. But there's only me left now. So I will get it all next year. He drinks a mouthful of his brandy. So live here with me, she repeats. You could have it all. All the money you've ever dreamed of. It does sound good, he says. And in that instant, he realizes that he's not pretending to be Clive Fremont any longer. He's being himself.
New season, new chaos in college football.
Let's go!
Big stage, big opportunity.
This Labor Day weekend, the wildness lives on ABC, ESPN, and the all-new ESPN app.
What a way to start!
Featuring top 10 teams like Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama, and LSU, and Bill Belichick's debut at North Carolina.
It's so special when these teams collide.
Don't miss a lineup filled with electric matchups.
Welcome back to college football.
Kickoff week presented by Modelo. Labor Day weekend on ESPN and ABC. Also available to stream on the all-new ESPN app.